What's up, Internet Land? Zachamus Prime, aka Zachamus Prime, here with another review. Not I almost said Transformers review, but it's not a Transformers review. But before that, I want to do a giveaway. I've got more people than the last time I did a giveaway, so I might have better luck with participation and whatnot. So I'm going to do something a little different. You guys may or may not know that as a little side hustle, I make coasters. I make these coasters out of these are clear resin, and so I buy the plexiglass, and I get these laser cut, and then I put that plexiglass inside the resin, and they look really nice. These are really nice coasters, non-slip feet, very very nice. There's a Decepticon, the Sith. There's a Jedi one. There's an Autobot one. A buddy of mine even asked me to do him a Mazinger one, so I did that. And so there's a lot of they're fun to make. Take a bit of time. I don't make them super fast, but anyhow, so I got a whole bunch of stuff cut the other day, and I want to see if anybody can guess what this piece goes to. If you can guess that successfully, then I will give you a free gift. Spoiler alert, it will be a set of coasters. But anyhow, drop a comment down there below. Of course, leave a like and a subscribe. And yeah, let's get to it. Anyhow, so the figure we're reviewing today is this is the design. Yeah, this is the designer series Megaman X. X Boost is what the package actually says. This is so the designer series Mega Man X was a Kickstarter. I remember when it first came live, and I was super super interested in it because I'm a huge fan of Mega Man and Mega Man X specifically, and I really wanted to get it, but it was just out. It was out of my price range. I'm not made of money, and there's like I always have way more stuff that I want to buy than stuff that I can actually buy. And so I didn't participate in the Kickstarter. That was for a regular blue version. Let me grab the instructions real quick. Regular blue version was the default version. You can see it in the instructions. There he is, all snazzed up, and that's a good looking figure. But this one right here, this represents X in his super armor, his like leveled up version. In the Mega Man X game, I don't know how many people here have played that game, but there are capsules hidden throughout that game that contain armor pieces that Dr. Light made for X, and they give him additional effects. Plus, they look different too. And so this is just a color difference. There's no molding difference between this and the base version. So it's not necessarily accurate in that regard. There's a lot of design differences between X and his armored version of X from the first game, but this one is just changes in the paint app and detailing. But this figure just looks astounding. I love it. Really good looking figure. But yeah, just I honestly I pulled this figure out of the box today because I am reviewing him and I wanted to familiarize myself with it first, and it made me so nostalgic about the game that I went and I purchased it for my PlayStation and played through the original game today. So I'm just fresh out of playing Mega Man X just now. So yeah, just very 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 nice. Um, Unfortunately, the only other I've got I think it's Bandai that makes it. Maybe it's Kotobukiya. I don't remember. I've got a Zero figure hanging out on my shelf. Oop, let me grab it. It's sadly not the same scale, which is a little bit of a bummer. Because I mean, as much as I like X, I really like Zero. I'd love to see a Zero that goes along with this X figure that's in that design. And I don't know that the designer of this figure has made any more figures. I'd have to look that up probably, but if he did do a Zero, I would be very, very interested in that. But anyhow, let's put this aside. I'm going to get into the details, or the accessories. He comes with a pair of hands. These are open palm hands. This is the only optional set of hands he comes with. His hands attached via ball joints. They just disconnect and reconnect, and there they are. Hands. Whoops. That one didn't connect fully. Push it in there. So there they are. Hands. He comes with an optional face. It's like yelling face. Yeah. And you can swap that out by just pulling off his helmet like that. And then you can pull his face off and put his alternate face on. And then reattach the helmet. And now you've changed his face. And then he comes with an X Buster. This is really nice. It if you turn it clockwise till it clicks, there it is. It lights up. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, I must not have had it clicked all the way. It's giving me some weird. I don't know. I don't know how much I trust the electronics inside. Come on, unclick. There we go. But metallic paint on the front here. The tampo printing on this figure is really nice. There's tampo printing like on the back of his head, on his back, chest, shoulders, forearms, knees, toes, here on the sides of his feet. They're on the back. Beware of blast. Just really good. There's little white tampo printing on the jets there, or these little panels. I'll show you that in a moment. Anyhow, so his X Buster, it will attach to either arm. You just kind of grab it and be cautious in disconnecting that. And you can do it on either one. Just disconnect them and then plug that in. And it snaps in. I feel like the connection on the X Buster itself is tighter than the connection on either of these forearms. So that might be something to think about. I mentioned back here these panels. So this is not a feature that was on the original Megaman X, but it's a design feature, and I think that's kind of cool. So you take these off, and then it comes with these versions here. It's basically like the same panel, but it's open, and there's like a vent or a booster inside there, possibly for when he's doing his like little dash thing. So that's nice looking. And then last but not least are some blast effects. He's got this blast effect here. Now this has a little part that goes on here. It had come off. But he can do that like he's firing. There's also a little optional piece that you can stick in like that. This has just got little divots that go into. There's little divots around in that buster, and these will just go into that, and this one just slips on top of that. So you line up those little nubs with the divots, and he'll be posed shooting that. Or you can pull this off, and you can attach on this one here. I think you can also, you can put that one on if you want to as well, or leave it off. Your choice. Now this one is awful heavy, and it will not support that. This figure does come with a display base. This is the last of those accessories, and you could like use that to like have his blast be lifted up, supported. There is supposed to be a thing that connects both of these little blasts together. Like you pull this off, and then there's a thing that attaches into here, and then they stick together like that. And so you would have a connection. You would have the all in all. Whoops. Let's make it the biggest blast that we can. All of the blast effect pieces. Throw that on and throw this on, and then he would have a bigger, badder blast. You can even kind of make that work. There's supposed to be an attachment piece that fits these together, and I got this. I'm borrowing this from my friend Matt, and the guy that he bought this from said that it was complete, but clearly it's not. It's missing that piece, and it's also this little piece here missing. He's got these little Gundam divots on his knees, and he's missing one of them, which is really a bummer, but it's also kind of a subtle bummer. So anyhow, so there's the accessories he comes with. I'm going to change his face back to his normal face because it's a bit weird having him yelling at me throughout the entire review. And let's get into posability. There's some things about this figure that I really like. Actually, let's slap that on and slap that on, and now he's ready to go take down Sigma again. But anyhow, so first of all, I want to take just a moment and really just admire the sculpt on this figure. First of all, the paint apps are really good, but all this stuff that's paint apped is also sculpted. Like there's, lines in here to separate out these different colors that are here or in his torso, on his thigh. Some really good. This dark blue is kind of a metallic-y dark blue. You can see a little bit of metallic flake in that, and that continues down here as well. This white is kind of this pearlescent white. Really, really nice looking. The green maybe could have been a little bit more neon. No, there was no green on the original design of Mega Man X. So, I mean, I think it's artistically it's a really good choice, but on the other hand, I almost want to say that the design intention is like that these parts are glowing, in which case maybe they could have made that a little more neon or phosphorescent. But just really, really good sculpt on here. There's some gold on the underside of his feet. These parts are molded in like a clear red here and here. Of course, on the tip of his buster as well. I kind of wish that his fist matched this metallic red on his X-Buster, but there is die cast in this figure. The bottom of his foot, this panel right here on the bottom of his foot, and then this whole panel on the front of his leg, this white panel here, those are both die cast. So he's leg heavy, which is exactly right for a figure, and it gives him quite a bit of heft. It's really nice. But let's get into his posability. His head is on a ball joint. It goes all the way around, rotates freely, looks up, looks down. He's got another joint here on his neck, so he'll look up that far, and then when he looks down, it will bend that neck. Nice design there. Looks really natural. Looks really smooth. Cocks his head a little bit. He's got a butterfly joint here on his shoulders, and it's pretty extreme. It's really nice. So he can do. Let's swap out this hand real quick. I know in the game sprites, he tends to like grab his hand at the base of his buster. And in the figure, it doesn't really seem to work out that well. In the animated stuff, like the Day of Sigma video, he tends to hold it like this on the bottom of his buster. and that one I think is better to work out because of the design of the gauntlet here. It does kind of hinder. If you have his wrist in the right position, it feels a little bit hindered, but you can make it work. You can make it work, and it'll look good. It'll look really good. This figure does a lot of things and looks really good doing it. So the butterfly joint works well. The shoulder is on an additional. This is a separate thing, so it gets out of the way when it needs to. But even at its maximum lift of this arm, it doesn't need to move very much at all. And then all of this moves around all as one piece freely. There's a bicep joint here, double joint here at the elbow. There's both elbows just the same. You can facepalm. Like I mentioned, the wrist is on a ball joint. It's actually on a double ball joint because this joint here moves around a little bit as well. His waist is on a ball joint. There's a ball joint up here in his chest that has a good range. And then there's a lower ball joint down here that also has a really good range. And so he can bend forward that much and bend back that much. And even at the maximum of his bend, like here, you can see this piece pulls out a little bit, but it doesn't show any of that joint in there. And when he bends all the way forward, there's just the tiniest little gap here, but it doesn't really show anything. It doesn't wreck the look of it. And when you turn his waist, especially if you just hold it by his upper chest and turn, like, it utilizes both of these joints as it does that. So it looks really natural. Really, really good sculpt on this. Looking great. So his legs are actually really cool. So they'll go out for a full Van Damme there. Maybe that's 98% of a Van Damme. But they're in this thing where you've got this angle right here on his waist piece, and as his leg goes forward, it pushes that out, right? So it's like hard to like kick his leg all the way up. Well, they compensated for that. You can actually slide this out slightly, and then his leg will go all the way forward, just like that. So there he is with the full kick, utilizing that bonus joint. And going back, you don't need to utilize that nearly as much. There it is all the way back. But like, look at that. That's an astounding amount of kick. That's fantastic. So that allows you to bring that up, especially if you're doing the dashing poses. You want to bring his leg up really high, and it allows that. And it looks really good. I want to point out, while I've got his knee out here, when you bend it, this whole thing just like separates and pulls, and there's this little gold detail in here. I like little like venting things. Like, I always like it when a figure has got something to fill in the gap in the joint. And this is like going above and beyond to fill in that gap. Just really cool looking joint design. And it's really deep. Like, look at how far that goes. His foot is on this crazy series of joints. First of all, there's like a little bit of a ball joint up in here, like right here on the front of his. Let me get a pointy tool. This file will do. There's a little bit of a ball joint up here, and mostly what it does is it allows this lower foot to rotate on that joint. And then there is a universal, well, it's just a hinge right here, and that allows the joint to go forward and back. And then coming off of that, let me get some light in here. Coming off of that, there's this other little stick part, and that connects to another ball joint inside his foot. So his foot has got like lots of range to it. It goes down that far. It goes up that far. And side to side is there and there. So just a really good range of articulation on him. Like, you can have his legs be spread out and they look really good. you know, because they're down to the bottom. And of course, he's got that, die cast in his feet and legs, so that, keeps him really well grounded and just looks really good. But yeah, it's fantastic. So this little arm plate here, so you've got this base, and this part disconnects, and it will clip into just basically anywhere all around this whole thing. I just keep it clipped in the center because I'm a tool when it comes to stands. Like stands for me have always been in the back and the center, and so whatever. But it's got a joint here. It turns, pivot, pivot, pivot. This little part will detach. You've got your regular 3mm peg here, like what you see on Figma stands and the, what do they call them? The ones that Bandai puts out for their action figures, for the Figure Arts figures. So this is a really standard thing, and then this part clips onto that, and it's just got these little grabby claws. And this arm is actually holds it really well. You stick it in there, and I mean it will completely support his weight, despite him not being a lightweight figure. Like, it'll completely support him just fine. The only thing that you want to keep in mind is because it's a grip and it doesn't like peg in anywhere, which on the one hand is kind of a bummer because it's not like a hyper solid connection on that grounds. But on the other hand, you don't really want like an ugly empty port just like hanging out somewhere. That's not cool either. So if you were to let's put him in a pose. Now let's do the other leg. If you were to put him where he'd be, dashing and firing his buster like so, then you'd have to grab him and then hope that gravity does you good, because he's gonna naturally hang off of wherever you attach these claw parts. And that's just the nature of the beast when it comes to this kind of stand. But I mean, it works well. Even still, it works really well. So he comes with a decent base. He comes with decent accessories. I can't even think of anything that he should have come with that he hasn't. The articulation is great. The sculpt is great. The paint is great. The weight is great. The posability is great. Like, this is a fantastic figure. I would recommend this figure at probably, since this is an exclusive one. I mean, I guess I don't even know what the going price for it is. I mean, just knee jerk, kick me in the face reaction, I would probably pay $100 for this figure, $120 for an exclusive one like this. If it's in high demand, I wouldn't be surprised if it costs more than that. I have not looked into it, so I don't know. But if you are a Mega Man X fan, actually, you probably already have one of these. That being said, I'm a Mega Man X fan. I don't have one of these, so who knows. Anyhow, it's a fantastic figure. Highly recommended. 2 thumbs up for me. But thanks, everybody, for watching. You guys are fantastic. I will catch you in the next one. Stay awesome and be good to each other. And don't forget, we've got a giveaway. If you can guess what this is for, then you get a gift. You get a prize. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. And I will see you later.